Welcome back, PERK'S reCAP podcast. We are on part 2 of uh, our review recap of everything going on in the NFL in terms of free agency. We left off, I believe, on the New York Giants. So who's next?
All right. Well, that takes us to the other New York team, the Jets. And, number one that we have to talk about for sure is the return of Geno Smith. Last we saw Geno Smith, he was getting his jaw broken and out of town a year later. And he has resurrected his career and then fallen back down again last year with the Raiders. And he's looking for one more resurrection and tough team to do it with. So he's back. They traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick and signed him to a 3-year, $40 million deal. That's a great move. He's a good player. They signed Edge Joseph Asai, I think is how you say it, 3 years, $36 million. Demario Davis has been in the league for 175 years and still playing well. The only player older than him playing well is, and of course, man, who's my 38-year-old edge guy that I love, Craig?
I forget. I don't remember his name.
I'll find the name then. He's going to come up at some point. My bad, guys. Sorry. With my freaking names. I got to start buckling down and taking Alpha Brain or something. The rest of there's a lot of decent signings here. 1-year signings, defensive tackle, Onamyata, Kingsley, Enagbare, that kind of stuff. Nothing that's going to open your eyes too far except for Asai and Demario Davis and guard Dylan Parham. And then the two trades probably were the biggest, most notable moves. They also franchise tagged Breece Hall and kept him in town. So, Craig, you want to take Jets first?
Sure. To be honest, I like a lot of their moves. Pretty solid moves. But the whole thing, nobody, even the Jets fans, didn't want him back at all. I think they're still going to be in a holding pattern another year, and I don't think the coach or the GM are going to well, the GM might survive because he's actually made some nice moves, but the coach is probably not going to survive, I don't think. So next year they'll get their quarterback and they'll probably have a new coach unless they get the quarterback this year. And I would not be surprised if with that second pick they get Simpson and try to see what they have with them this year, and then if they they don't like it or whatever, get a big time guy next year because all the quarterbacks that are coming out next year, that's really the class. But without a bona fide quarterback, and if Geno is bad Geno, this is going to crash and burn. And even if he's good Geno, it still isn't going to be much.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brandon. Take it.
Yeah, I mean, these moves are not going to inspire a ton of confidence, at least not Geno at this point of his career. It is an interesting story, him going back to the Jets after, basically that being the place where it didn't work for him, and then finding that success later on. But as you said, Greg, I don't really hate their moves. You kind of have to do something. So, getting Parham and Demario Davis, some guys who are, proven to be solid at their positions, just kind of acquiring some talent and then building through the draft. I don't think that's a terrible strategy. So, I think they're better than they were, before this.
I think they've improved. Because you got Breece Hall, you're going to get Garrett Wilson back. So your offense has some pieces. If Geno's good Geno, then that might, he might be able to do well with Garrett Wilson. And they really, really needed to shore up the defense. The defense was an even bigger problem than the offense. I mean, they were both bad. But the fact that they've kind of got some pieces on defense, their moves at least make sense. They're not just doing things that just absolutely baffle you.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, the other thing they didn't do is toss crazy money at the guy that may or may not pan out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I do like that, boding well for the future and loading up at the right time if they can ever get to the point where that makes sense, which is a big gift with that franchise.
Yeah, and don't forget 5 first-round draft picks this year or next.
Yeah, which is absolutely massive, and they have to make it count. So
they got to hit on all 5. They got to hit on all 5.
Yeah, or turn them into one franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? Or another player or two. Yeah. I'm with you, man. Huge. It's going to be fascinating to see if Aaron Glenn can survive all this. I'm with you. I'm leaning towards not. I'm surprised he survived the first year, actually, with how bad it went. But I'm kind of glad he did. It would have been a shame to see him just get one and done. But it wouldn't have surprised me because it was a bad year. All right, moving on from the Jets, and here we go to my team. Now, to talk about the Eagles, you have to talk about what they lost as much as and more than what they signed. And none of it was unexpected. It really wasn't. I know they wanted to keep Jalen Phillips, but they weren't going to spend that money. They also lost Reed Blankenship, as we talked about, to the Texans, and Nakobe Dean to the Raiders. Now, they don't have a replacement in the wings for Reed Blankenship, but they do have a replacement in the wings for Nakobe Dean. So which I'm desperately trying to find his name right now because you know me with names. But the one big signing they did finally was Reek Woolen just yesterday, who's a 6'4" corner for the Seattle Seahawks, who is a bit of a head case. The last time, one of the most notable things was in the NFC Championship game. He got that massive unsportsmanlike penalty thing that gave them a first down on 3rd and long that almost cost them a shot at the Super Bowl. But he's also been a very good player at times for them, especially under the old system before Mike McDonald went there, which is more similar to what the Eagles run than what he was somewhat struggling under when Mike McDonald came. So I like the signing. It's low risk 1 year. It's better than anything they had on the other side of Quinton Mitchell last year. So I do like that. But they've also lost a ton. You know, they kept Jordan Davis, which I love. And what else do I want to say about that? Oh, and then, of course, the other big story is A.J. Brown to be trade or not to trade. There's all kinds of stories.
Yeah, I've heard week. I heard this week.
Yeah, but I've been hearing that from people. I mean, I've been hearing one form or another of people thinking they know what they're talking about with this for months now, and none of it come true. So I don't believe anybody. I don't believe a single thing I've heard. I've heard everything but from he could go for a 3rd and 5th round pick to 2 first-round draft picks and everything in between. A lot of the teams that were big contenders for him supposedly signed guys like the Patriots. I mean, I heard 10 different experts say he was going to go to the Patriots, and then they signed Romeo Doubs. So not that Doubs should exclude them from him because he's nowhere near the player A.J. Brown is, but it sure seems less likely now. So I don't know what to make of it. The Eagles are going to take one of the biggest dead cap hits in the history of the NFL if they trade him. So they are not going to do it for a compensation that isn't massive. So it would not surprise me if we head into the season with A.J. Brown still in the Eagles roster. And the guy that is the reason they let Nakobe Dean walk is Jahad Campbell, the guy that fell to them at the end of the first round last year, which I figured that I love Nakobe Dean, but he's an injury risk, and I figured they were going to let him walk because Jahad's waiting in the wings. So take it away. Craig, you want to go first on the Eagles?
Yeah. I don't know what to make of this. They like you said, it wasn't surprising, but they lost a lot on defense. And their defense kind of, in my opinion, really was I don't think it is just my opinion. I think it's pretty obvious, was one of the major factors on why they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I mean, that defense was just suffocating and so good. And they were really good again last year. To take away that much from it, though, is it going to be as much of a strength? And I know you love him, but if you're putting more on Jalen Hurts, I think it's going to backfire because I still don't think he can do it. I don't think he can carry a team, and I think they're going to try to rely on him to carry them. And if they do, it's not going to end well.
I don't know how you're reading that because they still have one of the best running backs in football and one of the better offensive lines.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
You really want to argue that, Craig?
I think he is.
Saquon?
Yeah.
Oh, last year he wasn't shit.
That's silly.
That's silly. He wasn't.
He wasn't had a decent year. He had a good. It just for him, he didn't have a spectacular year. But
I said last year, people coming off 2,000-yard seasons have bad years, and I don't care what anybody says. That was a bad year. That was not what they were expecting.
Yeah, I think 280 rushes for 1,140 yards. And,
It's a bad year. It's a bad year for Saquon Barkley coming off 2,000. That's bad. That's not good enough.
Well, come on, listen. If you're holding it to one of the best seasons in the history of the NFL, almost
No,
any season anybody's going to put up is bad.
but last year you were saying 1,800.
I was not. I said 1,300, and I wasn't far off.
I thought you said more than that. Well, whatever. Either way, I don't think he lived up. Not lived up. I don't think he had the year that people were expecting. I think this year will be even less. And I don't know. I might be with Joe this year where I'm picking against the Eagles all the time. Depends. I got to see it. And
He stays healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he's still up there. I just, he's just Saquon's amazing, and I think I think where you will have to start, being concerned is if his yak goes down, or not yak, but if his
yards
explosive
after
plays
hit,
go down.
after first,
Or after first hit, then I think you'll have to be really concerned this year. But I still think he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, saying he's not is crazy. So, and we had a very similar discussion the year they signed him when you told me that like half the free agents that were signed were going to be better than him. So
and that was way off. Obviously, I was way off there. I could be way off this time, but that's just my opinion right now. I don't know. I'll have to see. I got to see the Eagles defense and judge it as it goes. Basically, if they start really dominating again and rounding into form, then they're going to be really, really good again. If they don't, they might be right in the middle. That NFC East could be everybody with 8 to 10 wins and all piled up on each other.
Yeah, this division is going to be fascinating. And, I mean, are the Commanders what they were last year, what they were 2 years ago, somewhere in between?
Right.
I don't know. I have no faith in Dan Quinn as a head coach, but I do like Jaden Daniels a lot. So I don't know.
They might be the team looking, on the outside. But even if they're not quite what the other three are, they're probably still going to win 6-7 games. If they win 7 and everybody else is winning 8 or 9, they're going to be right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fascinating division. It really is. You can make a case for a lot of different ways this goes, although I think the Cowboys and Eagles are going to be in almost everybody's top 2.
We'll see. We'll see about Dallas. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to see. But the Giants are going to be a solid 3 and maybe even 2 or, dare I say, 1.
Yeah, that would be real bold, and I won't be picking.
Yeah, I would be surprised as a Giants fan, but I do think they will be I think they'll be a decent team, and I think they have a potential for a wild card spot, but I probably wouldn't pick them higher than that as a ceiling.
Yeah, I think I think a realistic expectation for the Giants would be in the wild card hunt, probably not get it, but at least in the hunt, in the hunt graphic, that graphic that they show every year, they'll be in the hunt column.
I think that's completely reasonable. Absolutely. But they have a low floor because of their so many of their main players being injury prone. You know what I mean?
Right. If you could guarantee health to them, they're going to be right. Then they should be really, pretty good.
If you guarantee me health, I pick them for somewhere between 7 and 9 games, depending on how the rest of this offseason goes. Yep. Without that, it makes it real hard.
Plus, now they've got a real coach too.
Yeah, for real.
For sure.
Very cool. Awesome. I love it. Well, we're going to have to do when we do the preseason preview, we're going to have to do an over-under bet on Saquon Barkley's rushing yardage and come back and hold ourselves accountable at the end of the season, because that'll be real fun.
I'll set it at 1,100.
Over, easily.
Yeah, I think I'll go over.
Awesome.
Okay, now I just lost my place. Here we go. Okay. So, heading from one end of Pennsylvania to the other, we're going to the Pittsburgh Steelers now. Their biggest move was trading for Michael Pittman. They gave him then a 3-year, $59 million contract. They gave up almost nothing for him, which was really surprising to me how little he was worth in the trade. I couldn't believe they couldn't get something better than the compensation isn't right in front of me, but I think it was like a 5th or a 6th round draft pick, right?
What are the Colts thinking? They let Pittman go for nothing but give Pierce 120, whatever the hell it was, $120 million?
Yeah, man. They paid Pierce like he's Jerry Rice's second coming, and Pittman, who's been a solid receiver for years, they just give him away.
I kind of thought he was a little better than Pierce, or at least
Well, he didn't have
on
a
the
very good
same
year
level.
last year.
No, he didn't, but at least on the same level or close to it. Because 2 years ago he was really good.
Well, they're entirely different players. So they value Pierce because of his explosiveness, which I do understand. But Pittman is like just super solid. Now, listen, he had 3 years ago he had 109 catches for 1,152 yards and looked like he was going to be one of the great possession receivers in the NFL. Last 2 seasons, 69 catches for 808, 80 catches for 784. So he's kind of settled in, at least in Indy, as a very solid number 2. Which, by the way, guess who the Steelers have? DK Metcalf. What could they use? A very solid number 2. So it makes a lot of sense for the Steelers, and they gave up nothing. So it's a no-lose move for the Steelers in my mind. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just about to make that same point, Al. He's going to be brought in to be essentially the number 2 receiver and a possession guy. DK could make some of those really nice catches. DK is not like the most explosive guy in the world, but he definitely is a short-handed guy who's going to, get you what you need. I like what they've done. Getting Jamel Dean, just kind of shoring up what they have. Rico Dowdle, obviously, getting another back. So I think they've been solid. It's just with the Steelers, it's just who's going to be throwing these guys the ball.
Well, we know who it's going to be. It's going to be Rodgers. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're going to find out on August 19th that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play.
Right. But I would bet anything it's going to be Rodgers.
I'm with you because they did nothing to address it. My guess is they're going to draft somebody, whether it's in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, somebody that is probably not a viable replacement because the Steelers keep messing that up. But I'm with you. I would bet right now that Aaron Rodgers will be their quarterback starting week 1 for sure.
Yep.
And I love for the Rico Dowdle signing, by the way. I mean, Rico had a heck of a year for the Panthers last year, and he's going to walk right in and be teamed. It seems like a perfect compliment to Jalen Warren.
Rico is sneaky good. He's sneaky good.
Yeah, he's a really, really solid, good player, man. And they got him on the cheap because he's a running back, and he's gonna have a good year for them. Jalen Warren has proven he is not capable of being the guy. So Rico's going to at least have a 50-50 split here, if not more.
Yep. And that's the worst thing in the world for fantasy players.
Yes. Yeah. There's also, listen, Jalen Warren is also not only not proven he's the guy, but he has been dinged up a lot in his career. So there's a very good chance that Rico becomes that guy during the course of this season to me.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Anything else about Pittsburgh, guys? We good?
I'm good.
Okay. And moving on to the Niners, who had a guy I thought was never going to leave the team he was on, and they signed Mike Evans to a 3-year, $60-ish million contract. These numbers are kind of fantasy, but the guaranteed number is 16.3. I can't wait to see Mike Evans on a different team. It's going to be fascinating.
It'll be weird.
Very weird. It's going to be really interesting and fun to see how he is. And what is he? I have to look it up. I think he's 33 now. I want to say something like that. But he's still been a very good player when he's healthy. So I think last year ended his run of some crazy amount of 1,000-yard seasons in a row.
It was like 7 or 8.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So, fun signing, and I can't wait to see how it actually works out. But, what do you guys think about that? Brandon, you want to take the first on the Niners? There's not a whole lot else to talk about, by the way. They didn't do much.
Yeah, they didn't do much. The Mike Evans thing is interesting to me because it's like he was offered a deal from Tampa, but he said he wanted to, he wanted a new, he had new opportunity essentially. I think that's probably because Egbuka's coming in and what's his face is still there? What's the other guy? Big receiver.
Chris Godwin.
Godwin's still there as well. So maybe that's why. But ultimately, it's interesting to me that he chose to go to San Fran, wanting that new start. Not that they're not good, but it's just Interesting. He didn't want to catch balls from Drake May or Josh Allen or not that Purdy is bad, but it's just interesting. But yeah, I thought that was a good deal, and they didn't really do much else of note. So kind of just hoping, I think, that their guys will be healthy this year during that home stretch.
Yeah, well put. Well put. Cool. And by the way, I double checked it while we were talking. Mike Evans, his first 11 years in the league went over 1,000 yards.
That's crazy. That's insane.
It's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. So yeah, and he'll turn 33 during the course of next season. He's 32 right now. So yeah, fascinating move. It'll be fun to see him with the old Brock Purdy, see what happens over there. All right. Moving on to a team that has done absolutely nothing new, but retained a couple key guys, and nobody's going to complain much about what they do this year because they won the dang Super Bowl. Seattle Seahawks. The only couple things of note they did is retain Rashid Shaheed, Josh Jobe, not much else. So, Craig, talk about the Seahawks, my man.
They lost a lot.
They sure did.
They lost a lot of guys. I think they got their Super Bowl now, and I don't think they're going to be quote unquote Super Bowl contenders next year. Unless they really hit everything on the draft. I don't think they're going to be a bad team by any means. But for what they lost and how much their defense really carried them, we'll have to see. It's another wait and see for me, kind of like the Eagles in terms of changes that they made, and see how they react and how they play, and if their fill-ins or whoever they got to replace are as good or at least close to being as good, and seeing how the defense plays as a unit. But they're still going to be good, but I don't love everything. They've just lost so many guys, and I think it's obviously going to hurt them on the field.
Right on, Brandon.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add to that. I think that they obviously didn't really do much. It was kind of actually surprising that they retained Shaheed. Not that he's bad. It's just, as Craig just alluded to, you lost other guys on the defensive side. Kind of surprising that they didn't try to bring in more guys from that side of the ball. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with them. This is kind of what we see with teams that win the Super Bowl or even go to the Super Bowl. Not only do the players get moved, but a lot of the coordinators end up out, so you have kind of like a complete new team with new pieces that maybe aren't quite as good, and you have to figure out how to reshape them to be that Super Bowl contender that was there the year before. So we'll have to see. But I still really like their team, but they did lose a decent amount.
Right on. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm with you guys. I don't have a whole lot to add to what you said because I'm right on the same page. It is incredibly difficult to repeat in this league. You win a Super Bowl and you got guys. Listen, they had some good players signed elsewhere for sure. Every single one of them made extra money because they were on a Super Bowl winner. So you can't retain that. You just can't do it. You end up in a real cap problem, which is hard to do in the NFL with all the restructuring of contracts. You have to be really bad at the cap to end up in cap hell in this league. And that's the kind of way you do it, is to overpay guys coming off a Super Bowl. So not that they're not good players, but they all made $5 to $10 million more than they would have if they were on another team. So they kind of did what they had to do and let them walk. They're going to have to recalibrate. They have one of the best defensive-minded head coaches in football, so I think they can cover that up in a lot of ways because of McDonald, but it can't not hurt them. So I'm with both of you guys. All right, moving on. Tampa Bay. Now, they don't have a lot to talk about either, but Craig knows my love for one Kenneth Gainwell, and he is joining Tampa. 2 years, $14 million. They got Alex Anzalone, a very good linebacker from the Lions, whose injury issues out the wazoo, but when he's healthy, he's a good player. And that is it. Brandon, take Tampa first.
Yeah, that was kind of Alex Anzalone was pretty good. That's who we were looking at the, in Giants circles as well. But glad we got Edmonds. But, yeah, that was a pretty good move. Obviously Gainwell coming in is interesting. I think that kind of, signals then for, was it Rashad White, I think?
Yep.
So, he's obviously not going to be part of their plans anymore. But, I mean, I think it's just kind of status quo for them. Not really too much going on. You hope that everybody else is healthy next year, because they just had a ton of injuries this year down the stretch.
No doubt. Craig.
If they can stay healthy, this offense is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you get Ibuka, you have Godwin. Didn't they get, is Kate on this team?
They re-signed him. Yeah.
They re-signed him. Yeah. I think he's a little underrated. He's solid, I think. And then you've got Gainwell and Bucky Irving. I mean, wow. There's a lot of weapons there. And a solid as a rock quarterback in Baker. Solid if not spectacular, as they say, as the saying goes. But I like how they're looking for next year, even without what's his face, even without
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Thank you. I'm getting real bad too with the names.
Yeah, you and I together, man. We're turning into those guys in the balcony on the Muppets.
Hey, at least they're the funniest part of the show.
That's right. They have their strengths too, man, like we do. We just don't remember things real well anymore. Yeah.
But anyway,
and just to put it in.
I think,
go ahead. Sorry, man.
I think if Tampa stays healthy, they're going to be right there to win that division again, and it'll be interesting to see if they can do it again.
Yeah, and arguably the shakiest division in football last year, and so and probably still heading into this year. Hard to figure out what's going to be going on in that division. You have them, you have Carolina, who knows? You have New Orleans, who knows? And Atlanta, who knows? So, I mean, I'm going to probably pick the division winner to win 9 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like last year.
Yep.
Yeah. So all you need to do is find somebody to get steady and stay steady and healthy, and they could take this division, any one of those 4 teams. So I'm with you. The Tampa has as good a chance to do it as anybody, I think. And by the way, Kenny G, one last thought on him is this guy went from a solid backup in Philly to the quietest 1,000-yard total yardage season in maybe the history of the NFL last year. Like, do you guys even know he had 1,000 total yards? Because it surprised me even, and you know my love for Kenny G. So he had just over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns for the Steelers last year.
I wouldn't have guessed it for sure.
Yeah, man. Priceless. So, all right. Now, that takes us to, here we get to talk about one of your ex-players now. Well, maybe a couple of them, actually. The Tennessee Titans, who got their big deal was signing Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 years, $70 million. Another huge one was signing defensive tackle John Franklin Myers, 3 years, $63. Alante Taylor and Cordell Flott. That was a Giant, right? Wasn't Flott from the Giants?
Yes.
They gave out massive money to these two cornerbacks. Taylor got 3 years, $60 million. Flock got 3 years, $45 million. They signed Daniel Bellinger. I mean, geez, they might as well just move into the Meadowlands, man. 3 years, $24 million. And those are the big signings of note. Am I missing anything? Oh, and they traded for Solomon Thomas, like you mentioned, I think, off air, Craig. That's the big stuff. So why don't we have Brandon take this one first, since it's now the Tennessee Giants?
Yeah. You're missing your boy Mitch Trubisky. Come on.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. I should not forget that.
I think they have 4 former Giants there: Schlottman, Wan'Dale, Cordell, and Bellinger. And it's funny, it's like the Titans became the Giants and the Giants became the Ravens is basically what happens.
Yes, that's funny. Yes.
Like
I'll take that trade if I'm the Giants.
Yeah. So I like what they did. I think Wan'Dale is a good receiver. I think that he basically just didn't fit at what Harbaugh was trying to do.
Tell you what, another
wide receiver 2 or slot or wide receiver 3, just slot guy. Quality. He had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, I was going to say another quiet 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, for sure. Flott was a guy that the Giants and fans wanted to retain. I think we probably thought that 45 for 3-year 45 is a little rich. He was good, and he was an ascending player. So, and the Giants don't really have much at corner right now. So that was, I think that's a pretty good deal for the Titans. I am shocked that Bellinger got paid so much money. I'm
Right there with you.
absolutely surprised. He's not bad, but it's like, and the interesting thing is Daboll didn't play him when he was at the Giants. So it's like interesting that, Daboll's now in Tennessee, and they decided to pay Bellinger essentially like tight end one money. It's pretty crazy to me. But yeah, look, Tennessee, they got guys at a few positions of need. So I think they did a decent job to hopefully build on some of the success, the little bit of success that they kind of had. At least they were playing better towards the end of the year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And one thing I'll add to the Daboll connection, it is interesting too that Wandale wanted to play under him again. Is Daboll's last year as head coach in New York? Wandale had this is crazy, and Craig remembers me talking about this. He had a couple good games at the end of the season that year to narrowly avoid becoming the lowest yards per reception receiver in the history of the NFL when he had 93 catches for 699 yards, which is insane. And then he had the best year of his career, and now he heads back to the guy that he did that with. So I found that fascinating too.
Yeah, I mean, any thoughts you would have about people maybe not wanting to play for Daboll from the Giants? I guess he still left an impression with them because everybody's flocking to him.
Yeah. I mean, geez. Yeah, 4 guys, man. That's wild, dude. Wild. So yeah, fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to see what the Titans are in this year with Daboll as their coordinator and the second year quarterback getting some growth under him. I don't know, man. They're an interesting team. I don't think they're going to be very good, but they could be one of those surprise teams that comes out of nowhere and improves dramatically. I don't know. We'll see. Yep. I'm not going to pick it. It wouldn't stun me crazily.
Me neither.
All right, moving on to, I believe this is the last team. Yeah, and our division. We've mentioned them a bunch. Let's talk about the specifics. The Washington Commanders. They made one of the biggest, I think this is the second biggest edge rushing contract to be signed behind Jalen Phillips in Carolina. They got Odafe Owe for 4 years, $100 million. Leo Chanel for a linebacker for 3 years, $24 million. Defensive tackle Tim Settles, 3-year, $24 million. Not a whole lot worth mentioning other than that, probably. They were able to extend Laramie Tunsil, which is huge, who, again, the Houston Texans just gave away last year for no apparent reason. Still can't understand it, never will. And Odafe went from a first-round bust for the Ravens and a sackless 5 games, got traded and salvaged his career and his reputation with the Chargers, got 7.5 sacks in 12 games after the trade, and turned it into a massive contract. So this is a fascinating. He had 10 sacks 3 seasons ago, and he's 27 years old. And this is a real big boomer bust sort of signing to me. But if it booms, they got a heck of a deal. It could be a real problem for them, though. So because they made it $68 million guaranteed. If this guy's not what they hope to get, it's going to hurt. So Craig, take the Commanders first.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not overly excited about anything they've done. Looking at it now, just they're banking everything on Jaden Daniels coming back and being what he was 2 years ago. That's what their whole season's going to ride on. And if he's not, they're not going to be good. And if he is, they're going to be solid. And these moves, I don't think impact it one way or the other.
Yeah, if you're right about that, they just spent $100 million on a low impact player, which is going to kill them. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah, so it wouldn't impact it one way or the other. So he's got to be good too. But
he's got to be very good. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
If he is, and Jaden Daniels comes back, obviously that's what they're banking on. Then they could be a little better. But I'm not a fan of that head coach either.
Same.
So we'll have to see. Not overly thrilled about the Commanders.
Right there with you, my man. Brandon?
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I don't really know what their other options were. I mean, I guess they could try to try to get some more weapons or something like that. But like to me, they kind of built on the positions that they thought they needed. You know, re-signing or giving Larry Tunsil an extension. I kind of like Chigaquanu a little bit, so I brought him in. You know, signing Leo Chanel. Like they're just trying to bolster some of the positions they have, and I'm not, you know, it's not really too sexy or enthusiastic, you know, or anything crazy, but I think they're banking on their young quarterback's going to come back and you know, I mean, they got in the conference championship a couple of years ago, and he was banged up last year, so you know, they're kind of just like, you know, this is at the very least they're probably thinking they should get in the playoffs or close to the playoffs next year. So yeah, wasn't too inspired by their moves, but I kind of get it.
Right on. Yeah. Right on. Well, that's it, guys. Anything else you guys want to hit or talk about that I didn't bring up or anything? Or because I think we covered the league.
We totally did. Took 2 parts, but we did it.
We got there.
Okay, you guys have another 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, let's do it.
Brandon is.
Let's do it.
Nice.
All right. Okay. How many teams do you think went from last place to first place in the last 10 years?
First place meaning what? In their division or?
In their division, yes.
3.
Brandon?
I'm going to say 5. I'm going to be a little more ambitious.
10.
No way.
10 times in the last 10 years, somebody went from last place in the division to first place the next year. The Pats did it this past year, and Chicago. We had 2 this past year do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do it.
Yeah. Wow.
2 years ago, nobody did it. It had 2 years, nobody did it, but in 2 other years, 2 teams did it. That's how we got to 10.
Wow, man. Wow. That's a good stat. I would never would have gone that big on the number. That's cool.
So, ranking the 8 teams 1 to 8 that came in last in the division, I'll give you the teams. Who is going to be that team this year? Because it happens more than it doesn't.
That's a great call. Wow. This is awesome. Okay.
So we have the Jets. I would put them probably number 8. Least likely.
Yeah.
The Browns, probably number 7.
I got to keep hearing teams, but I'm inclined to agree so far.
The Cardinals, probably number 6.
Definitely down. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it gets more interesting. The Saints or the Titans, who's worst? Who has less of a chance?
I would put the Saints over the Titans personally.
As a better shot to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Titans have tougher teams in their division too, I think.
All right, so we're going to go Titans 5, Saints 4. Now, I'll have you guys go individually the last 3. Al, you have the Giants, the Lions, and the Raiders.
Well, it's easy number 1 for me, and that's the Lions. I mean, that's a no-brainer for me. And then the Giants and who?
The Raiders.
I'll take the Giants over the Raiders.
So you have Lions with most likely to do it, and then the Giants.
By a wide margin. Wide margin.
Then the Giants, and then the Raiders.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, same 3, Giants.
I agree with that ranking, and I agree with that the Lions by a wide margin. I think I picked in our preseason. I think I picked the Lions at the Super Bowl or something like that. So I'm definitely in on the Lions. So I would agree with that.
I would put them in the same 3 as well. But the thing is, what's telling is the fact that we all think the Raiders are much improved.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wouldn't, there's no team in this whole discussion that I would consider picking over the Lions because I think they're a much better team than anybody in that list. However, I would give a lot more. I would even be more inclined to raise up Oakland if they weren't in the AFC West because there's 3 teams there that I'm going to have to consider hard putting in the playoffs that aren't the Raiders, and that would be hard to overcome. But I do like their chances for a big improvement to be a much more competitive team.
Right, but the Lions are in a division too where you can have 2 or 3 teams in there and not them.
Absolutely, but they are.
In fact, didn't that just happen?
Yeah, they're just better though.
Right. Okay, so it's Lions, Giants, Raiders. Saints, Titans, Cardinals, Browns, Jets.
So you're saying there's a chance for my
I'll tell
Giants.
you, by the way, if
Number
I
two.
might put the Saints above the Raiders and the Giants because of that division,
Right, the
and
division
because I
match.
like Chuck that much.
Yeah, that's a good call, honestly, just because of the division. We don't know who's going to win that.
Right. I'll still put the Giants number 2, but we'll see. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. And I came across the stat about the teams last 10 years. It happened 10 times, so then I decided to make a little game out of it.
I love a Craig game, and that was a really fun one, dude. And I'm glad we didn't talk about it ahead of time, so we had to think on our feet.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this one obviously not nearly as long, so that's good. Part 2 is over. We finished. We will reconvene again, maybe a little before the draft to do a little draft preview.
Yeah, we should do a first round mock like we did last year, huh, Craig?
Yeah, Brandon, would you like to join us for that, or?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, so we'll get in touch and we'll figure it out. But all the listeners, if you're listening, figure like a week before the draft in that range, somewhere around there, we'll be back on here. And before that, we'll definitely be doing some baseball too. And we'll have to get in touch with the unicorn. And, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan.
Yep. Okay, so guys, that's gonna do it. If you have nothing else to add, I'm gonna sign us off.
Good to go. Thank you both. That was awesome.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, see you later.